Hey guys, happy Memorial Day weekend to you. Double or Nothing, the second edition went down tonight. It's the 1-year anniversary of All Elite Wrestling. How was this 1-year anniversary show for them? Let's take a look. First match was on the Double or Nothing buy-in kickoff show. Private Party taking on Best Friends. Best Friends are, of course, #1 contenders for the AEW Tag Team Championships. It was a fun match, very entertaining, good way to entice the crowd who hasn't yet bought into the pay-per-view to buy the match. Both teams got their back and forth action in, time to shine for each team. In the end, it was Best Friends who won the match, which made sense. They are the #1 contenders, and we haven't seen Private Party on TV in quite some time, so Best Friends winning this match was the most logical conclusion to it. After that, we started the main show with the Casino Ladder match. Kazarian and Scorpio Sky start us off, and then the way this match works is there's a big poker chip hanging above the ring. Person to grab that chip wins the match and earns a #1 contender match against the AEW champion, whether that be Brody Lee or Jon Moxley. We'll find that out later in the night. And then every 2 minutes, a new wrestler enters the match. It's kind of like a mix between a Royal Rumble and a ladder match. So it says Kazarian and Scorpio Sky start us off. Then Kip Sabian enters next, and of course he's in that tag team with Jimmy Havoc. So Jimmy Havoc is kind of helping out Sabian. Havoc went for a Frankensteiner and hit a ladder when Kazarian was able to hold on to the top rope. And then Kazarian would German suplex Havoc onto the ladder. Very painful looking spot. Darby Allin entered in next, and then what was an insane spot. He had his skateboard, had somebody, I think it was Kazarian, laying on a ladder draped across the ring and the barricade. Jumped off the ladder with the skateboard, but Kazarian moved, so Darby Allin just crashes through the ladder on his skateboard. Very painful looking spot, holding his knee in a lot of pain. Orange Cassidy entered next, and he did his usual lazy, not really into the match stick. He asked the commentary team how you're supposed to win this match, so he set a ladder horizontally in the middle of the ring and was lazily reaching up for the belt. Couldn't get it. After Cassidy, we get Colt Cabana, and then Joey Janela, and then Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus would actually powerbomb Sabian to the outside of the ring, and then onto wrestlers, and he would chokeslam Kazarian onto a ladder, and Kazarian would bounce off the ladder right into another chokeslam from Luchasaurus. Really, really cool spot. Allin would hit a top rope code red, and then the final entrant of the match was a surprise entrant. A former TNA wrestler, Brian Cage, came into the match. It looks like he's being managed by Taz now. Very exciting debut for him at AEW's 1-year anniversary pay-per-view. Too bad there was no live crowd there. They probably would have lost their minds for this debut. But Brian Cage entered with Taz, and then Cage dominated. He tried to climb the ladder with Orange Cassidy on his back, actually. And then everybody eventually ganged up on Cage and buried him under a barricade, under a ladder, or one of those prop poker chips. And then Sabian would hit a coast-to-coast to Colt Cabana. That was pretty impressive. Havoc and Cassidy, Havoc would yank Cassidy off the ladder, and this would prompt the Best Friends to come out from the back. How about their bud, Orange Cassidy? Then Kazarian would hit a leapfrog over the ladder into a Hurricane Rana over onto Luchasaurus. Very cool spot, reminiscent of Jeff Hardy when he would leapfrog over the ladder into a leg drop. Janela would hit a Death Valley driver flip onto a poker chip that was actually on top of the pile that was burying Brian Cage. And then Cage and Luchasaurus with a nice exchange where Cage would powerbomb Luchasaurus onto a ladder. Cage would eventually toss Allin out of the ring. He had Allin laid across this ladder. He would pick up the ladder and just toss Allin and the ladder out of the ring into another ladder set outside the ring. He would then climb the ladder and grab the poker chip. So Brian Cage is the new #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. It was a fun match, a lot of high spots. It was very clunky, especially with like the Royal Rumble entrant format. Going forward, I hope they just make this like a regular ladder match, and just get rid of that every 2-minute entrant thing. It was kind of just weird, kind of throughout the timing of the wrestlers, and there was a little bit of sloppy spots. Cage, in particular, at the end had a hard trouble getting Darby Allin on the ladder to throw him out of the ring. Other than that, that was very entertaining and solid way to open up the main pay-per-view card. After that, we had MJF versus Jungle Boy, and this was a really, really solid match. MJF and Jungle Boy had a pretty even exchange to start it off. And MJF, he was faking a knee injury. The doctor would come over and he would actually take advantage of that. Jungle Boy with 2 suicide dives and a senton followed by a springboard swinging DDT. Very impressive segment right there. They would then have a slap off against each other. MJF would take a destroyer, but he would like bounce off the ropes and deliver a super kick to Jungle Boy. Very cool spot. Jungle Boy would deliver a reverse Frankensteiner to MJF on the apron. Very impressive, and MJF sold the hell out of this on the landing. Jungle Boy would hit a sit-up powerbomb from the top rope, or a Liger bomb, if you will. Did not matter though. They had like a roll-up exchange, and MJF was eventually able to keep Jungle Boy's shoulders on the mat for 3 seconds. So MJF is your winner. I like how they're building him up. He's really probably the top heel in AEW today, so it makes sense for him to win, to add to that cocky prick character he has going for him. After that, it was the TNT Championship match with Mike Tyson as the special enforcer, presenter, whatever you want to call him. He was just involved. So it was Cody versus Lance Archer. Iron Mike enters first with the belt, and the belt, it's not the worst belt I've seen, but it's definitely not the best. It's a step up above the 24/7 title in WWE in terms of championship looks, but I mean, it's not that high above the 24/7 title. So Archer starts the match by choke slamming some dude, and then he hit a blackout on Cody. Cody would dive onto Archer, but Archer would toss Cody from the stands to the ring mat in a very painful looking spot. Like, the sound of that impact just hurt me. Archer would then do his little top rope walk and hit a moonsault, and then actually cut away to Mike Tyson. He's sitting at ringside. He actually yawns, so not the perfect time to catch him. Looks like he's bored. Jake the Snake and Cody would start jawing, and then there would be a big double spine buster by Archer to Cody, since Cody had Arn Anderson in his corner and Archer had Jake the Snake in his corner. Cody would hit Crossroads, but Archer would kick out. Eventually, Arn Anderson and Jake the Snake were ejected. They didn't really get involved that much, but yeah, so they're both gone. Jake the Snake would come back out with a bag, and it's presumably with Damien, his snake, inside. Mike Tyson would jump up on the ramp, prevent that from happening, take off a shirt, looks like telling Jake the Snake, you know, let's go, let's throw some hands, knuckle up. Tyson's actually in great shape, but Jake would back off. This would allow Cody to hit a Crossroads onto Archer for the win. Another solid match, not as good as the MJF Jungle Boy match, but in my opinion, it was very solid. If there was a live crowd, they would have popped massively for the Mike Tyson spot. It was very entertaining, very cool to see Mike Tyson in another wrestling ring and in a wrestling capacity again. But yeah, Cody is TNT champ since he can't challenge for the AEW World Heavyweight title, and he's been positioned as a strong contender for or within AEW. It just made sense to give him the TNT title. And we'll see where this leads. It'll be interesting to see Lance Archer chasing Cody Rhodes for this TNT title, because I don't think their rivalry is over just yet. After that, we had Penelope Ford versus Chris Statlander. Ford actually took the place of Britt Baker, who was injured on Wednesday. I think a knee injury. They really broke it down on Double or Nothing, saying what the injury was. Statlander would hit a suicide dive onto Kip Sabian, who accompanied Penelope Ford. She would hit that suicide dive onto the both of them outside the ring. And there was a nice kick to a German suplex combo by Statlander. Ford would hit a top rope Hurricane Rana, but it did not matter. Statlander would hit a Big Bang Theory for the win. Solid match, nothing too special. It was kind of like, you could tell they kind of threw this together at the last second, but they still flowed well, had some nice chemistry. And Statlander's being pushed recently in AEW, so it made sense for her to get the win here. After that, we had Shawn Spears versus Dustin Rhodes. This match was made on Wednesday on AEW by Shawn Spears. So he's cutting this promo as like a newsman, SNN, the Shawn Spears News Network. And on Wednesday, he basically told Dustin Rhodes to retire. Then he unretired Dustin Rhodes and challenged him to a match and made it official for this card. I liked what they were doing with that, kind of giving Shawn Spears some cocky, arrogant heel heat by doing that. And I thought that, you know, they might actually be taking him seriously. So we get to the match. Shawn Spears enters out first. We hear Goldust music. Shawn Spears looks at the camera, says, "I gotcha." So he tells the ref to count to 10. Says Goldust isn't here. So the rest counting. Then we hear not Goldust, Dustin Rhodes music goes off once again, and Shawn's telling the audio guys, you know, it was only one time, cut it off. But Dustin appears from behind. Brandy's accompanying. Brandy comes up from the front to distract Shawn, so Dustin comes up, gets a sneak attack. Dustin, this is like more of a comedy spot than an actual match, so Dustin would de-pant Spears and would spank him, and then you see a picture of Tully Blanchard right in the front of Shawn Spears' underwear. Dustin would eventually win. Yeah, so as I said, it was a comedy spot. I'm not a fan of it. Like, Dustin Rhodes is in the twilight years of his career. Shawn Spears, he has a bunch of untapped potential based on these heel promos he's been doing. and I don't see the point of having him lose to Dustin Rhodes here. I would have much preferred him win. I have no problem with the comedy spot, as long as Shawn Spears would have somehow got the win. But to have him lose just makes him look like a total idiot. So yeah, one a fan of the result. I didn't mind the comedy, just have Shawn Spears win. I don't get why they made him lose. After that, we had Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship in a no disqualification match. This was a really good match. Best match of the night up to this point. Each woman tried to start with a kendo stick. They had like a tug of war, but Rose would eventually gain the upper hand and start wailing on Shida with the stick. Rose would plant Shida through a poker table on the outside of the barricade. She would plant her through that, and Shida would have a hip toss to Rose through a big poker table, or a big poker chip. And she also hit a running knee onto Rose. So she ran, jumped off one poker chip, hit Rose with the knee, and then Rose went back into another poker chip. Rose would hit a flying knee to Shida off the top rope and would start using the kendo stick. Rose would hit a powerbomb to Shida through a table in the corner, and then Shida would hit a top rope avalanche, Falcon Arrow in a very impressive spot. She would later crack Rose straight in the head with a kendo stick, and the impact and the way this looked, it looked very painful. So kudos to Rose just taking this kendo shot right to the head. Eventually, Shida would win with a knee to become the new champ. Made sense. They've been building up Shida a lot. I can't remember the last time she actually lost on TV. So yeah, Shida has been built up. She slays Nyla Rose. I don't think this feud is over because they've been building up Nyla Rose to be a beast as well. And it was a no disqualification match, so pretty much they could play it off as the only reason Shida won was because she had the use of weapons. So I could definitely see them having just a regular one-on-one, no gimmick type of match later on down the road for the AEW Women's title. After that, it was Brody Lee versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship, and where the women's match was the best match of the card, this match took over that spot. This was a very good match. Best match of the night so far. Moxley would start the match with a suicide dive to Harper, and Harper would actually fall through the barricade. After that, Harper would suplex Moxley onto the floor and then hit a suicide dive onto him. Then he also hit like a pump handle backdrop to Moxley through a barricade that was slanted, and the barricade would actually bend. Painful looking spot right there. Moxley would hit a cradle pile driver move he just revealed that he had in his arsenal on Wednesday. And then he would hit dropper on the timekeeper's table, and Harper's knee would actually bounce off the rail. Very painful, very reminiscent of like Mick Foley's knees when they would just flail, when he would like have his knees bounce off the steel stairs when he was tossed off the ring apron. That looked painful. Harper would hit a sit-out powerbomb, and Moxley would actually hit a paradigm shift to Harper on the ramp and actually fall through the ramp. Very reminiscent of the Bam Bam Bigelow Taz spot from, I think it was like Heatwave 98 in ECW back in the day. So Moxley, the ramp had some stairs, and Moxley's at the bottom of the stairs. Harper is on the stairs, picks them up, drops with the paradigm shift. They fall through the ramp. Moxley's the first one to climb out of the hole in the ramp, and then Harper emerges. He's got blood on his face. Moxley would actually hit him with 2 more paradigm shifts, but Harper would kick out each time. But eventually Moxley would choke out Luke Harper with like a sleeper hold. So Brody Lee. He would choke out Brody Lee with the sleeper hold, and Moxley wins the match, flips off Brody Lee for good measure. So Moxley is still your AEW champion. Looks like he has a bout with Brian Cage on the horizon. That should be a fun one. And this match was a really good match. Best match of the night so far. And we're not done yet. After that, we had the Stadium Stampede match. The Elite and Delete connection of the Elite Matt Hardy taking on the Inner Circle. And oh my god, this was just entertainment and chaos throughout the entire thing. So the Inner Circle entered the Jacksonville Jaguars football stadium like an actual football team. There was fire, there was smoke, there was cheerleaders, there's Jackson, the Jacksonville Jaguar mascot, and the Inner Circle comes out with football jerseys and football helmets. Perfect entrance. The Elite would do the same thing with Hardy, but they didn't have jerseys, didn't have any football gear. So in terms of entrance, the Inner Circle wins that battle. And then Adam Page no-showed, so they're playing it white. Where's Adam Hangman Page? Is he abandoning the Elite? So the way the match starts, there's a ring at the 50-yard line, and then each team is like, I think on the 30 or something. The ref blows the whistle, they charge toward the middle. It kind of looks like the beginning of like a dodgeball game, and just all hell breaks loose. Total chaos to start this match. Eventually, Adam Hangman Page shows up on a horse, chases Sammy Guevara into like the bowels of the stadium where all the halls and where you can get to the seats are. Sammy would then Sammy eventually works his way back to the ring. Hits a huge shooting star press onto a group of wrestlers from the ring to the wrestlers who are on the outside of the ring. Matt Jackson would actually climb atop a goalpost and hit a moonsault. That was insane. And then Omega would scoop slam Santana onto a trash can by this like club area. And then after that, Santana and Ortiz would drop Omega onto a guardrail propped up between two tables. It does not break, so they get up on the tables, pick Omega up, and drop him through the guardrail. It finally breaks, and then we get what might be the moment of the night. So Matt Hardy is fighting Santana and Ortiz in this pool, and every time they dunk Hardy into the water, he comes back up as another iteration of his character from his wrestling career. So he's fighting as Damascus. He gets shoved down underwater. You see this underwater cam. Matt Hardy's like doing the 90s Hardy finger motion. He pops back up. It's 1990s Matt Hardy. They shove him back under again. You see him like doing the version 1. He pops back up. It's Matt Hardy version 1. And kudos to AEW. They actually included the on-screen graphics for the version 1 character that he had back in WWE in like 2003. My favorite part of the night right there. And then they dunk him back under. He comes back up as Damascus. And then Hardy eventually would use this like big bell that the Jaguars had in their stadium. He'd use that as a weapon, and he would tape Ortiz to a wheelchair. He would lock Santana in an ice chest. And then eventually we cut over to Jake Hager and Adam Hangman Page. They're at this bar in the stadium. They're sharing a drink. And then Hager would eventually hit a rock bottom before they start fighting. Hager would hit Hangman with a rock bottom onto a pool table. And then Hangman would eventually use Kenny Omega, who makes his way into the bar area. He uses him for a buckshot. They eventually have a drink. Of course, Omega's drinking milk during this. We cut back to the field. Matt Jackson, you see him starting at one end zone. He starts this rolling Northern Light suplex sequence. It keeps cutting between that and then Nick Jackson and Chris Jericho fighting. But every time we cut back to Matt Jackson and Sammy, who's the victim of these rolling Northern Light suplexes, it's further along the field. So Matt Jackson does this the entire length of the field. When he gets to the end zone, he's celebrating. He says, "Touchdown!" But he gets flagged for excessive celebration, so he super kicks the ref. Meanwhile, Jericho and Nick Jackson are fighting. And eventually Jackson, the Jaguars mascot, gets involved. He's like taunting Jericho, so Jericho hits him with a Judas effect. And then he would try and get a pinfall on Nick Jackson. The ref only gives him a 2 count, so he throws a red flag, challenges the play. They get into the booth, and they're arguing over the review. He basically tells the referee she sucks, and the referee says, upon further review, the call stands, only a 2 count. So eventually, Matt Jackson works his way over to where Jericho and Nick Jackson are fighting. Matt sets Jericho up on a table. Nick hops up into the stands, runs up the stairs, runs back down the stairs, and hits a huge splash out of the stands to Jericho through the announce table. Sammy, who's like knocked out from all those rolling Northern Light suplexes, these sprinklers go off, and he wakes up. He sees that he's like the last man standing, so he thinks he wins the match. And then Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega roll up in the golf cart, same golf cart that hit Sammy 2 weeks ago on Dynamite. They chase him from one end of the field all the way to the other. He hops up, he does like a Lambo leap into the seats. He's throwing chairs at Hangman Page. Eventually Vanguard returns, and Kenny Omega makes his way into the seats. Eventually him and Sammy are fighting, and then he takes Sammy, stands on the edge of where the seats are. It's a massive one-winged angel out of the seats through this platform below, pins Sammy. The Elite and Delete Connection win. They beat the Inner Circle in the Stadium Stampede match, which was unbelievably chaotic, a ton of fun, and a great way to end the show. So that was the match of the night. The last 3 matches, by far the best matches of the night. The women's title match, the AEW World title match, and the Stadium Stampede match. And Double or Nothing as a whole, another great show put on by AEW. Better than WrestleMania in my opinion. This might be probably the best wrestling show of the year so far. And so kudos to AEW. They did it again. They delivered on their 1-year anniversary. Stadium Stampede match was, oh my god, just chaotic fun. I cannot recommend this match enough. And that's all I got for you. Just feel free to give a thumbs up, give a comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out my website, cincyfanzone.blogspot.com. Give me a follow on Twitter and on Instagram. Links to both of those are in the description below, and the tags on those are at Cincy Fan Zone. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.